evening, everyone, and for us at the taping, it's morning, but we're glad to be with our audience, and we're thrilled, I am thrilled, to have our guests here from the Norwich Transition Academy, which is a new program for Norwich Public Schools, and we're so fortunate to have the program coordinator and two of our students who will talk about their backgrounds, their work, what the program means to them, and a little bit more. So if we could start by you introducing yourself, that would be really great.
I'm Tom DuFort. I'm the coordinator of the Norwich Transition Academy and a transition specialist at the Norwich Public Schools.
Thank you.
My name is Thonny. I'm a student at NTA and...
Great, thanks.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm attending NTA as well.
Great, we're going to hear more from you as we move forward. We're going to start with Mr. DuFort, who really kind of developed our program along with a few other people, but started for us this year in our new location, off and running with students that are wanting to work and learn. I even had the opportunity, which I'll talk maybe more about after, of visiting a program and watching Tyler work a couple weeks ago. So let's start with you, Mr. DuFort, about you, who you are, your background, what we might hear about today, that kind of thing.
Sure. I've been in the special education field for going on 26 years now. And for the last 16 years or so of my career, I've been primarily working on transition skills with young adults. It's been an extraordinarily satisfaction bringing a profession in that we get to be the last stop for our special education students, and they are able to address the employment skills, the vocational skills, the daily living skills that they really need to successfully transition into the community. I've been around long enough that when I started my career, special education students were by and large very isolated from the school community. We had our own entrances, our own rooms, which had pros and cons. The cons were the students were not really a part of the school, but we did have a lot of time to address those daily living skills that students were going to need for their next setting. And of course, over time now, the pendulum has swung all the way in the other direction where students are active members of the school community, which is fantastic. They get a lot of social benefits from it. They're really part of the community. But in that switch, some of the life skills and the time that we had to address those skills kind of was used up in another way. So that when the state, with the reauthorization of the IDEA, started once again focusing on the transition, it was a natural fit for me, and I really went for it, and I haven't regretted it.
That's great. So when you talk about transition, that word, we talk about transition, we talk about daily living skills, two of the things that came to mind that you mentioned. What are those? What's an example of those?
It's the skills that students need to transition into the community. So they leave the school community, and we want our students to be able to get around and access their community. So transportation issues, be able to advocate for themselves as a member of the community. So understand their rights, understand what their needs are, and what's available to them. Of course, employment is a big part, for everybody. Your identity is kind of tied to your employment. So, what do you do? So we want our students to have those skills and understand what they're good at, what they get satisfaction out of, and most likely be employed at, so that they are able to pursue those jobs and lead engaged lives. So
in order to do that, we started this program. So it's helping students do transition into the adult world. Not that you're not adults already, but as you transition away from education into the world of work, what does our program look like and offer?
Our program is unique in that we're able to meet students where they are, students that are coming in that are placed through a PPT, and that's the planning placement team that determines students' strengths and what areas we need to address. We are able to meet them with a very robust daily living skills program. We are very much out in the community, and we have a variety of vocational sites. We're currently serving at 14 vocational sites that are kind of niche jobs depending on people's skills and interests, so that we are able to kind of fine-tune what a student's interests are and what their skills are, and then place them in jobs that they'll succeed at.
I think that's the most exciting part for me, and we'll talk to you young men shortly about having 14 opportunities and others if you had other interests that weren't on that list of 14, right in our own community, where you can go and work and like it. Some people get jobs and they do it because it's a job, not so much because it's your interest or you like it. So having a coach or a teacher help you to figure out, what do I like, what am I good at, and then hooking you up with that, that's like a great thing.
And it's great to see the students really kind of turn a corner and develop a sense of what they're good at and what they like, and have that pride in being independent.
So what does community-based mean when we talk about a community-based program? We're not like in a regular school.
Absolutely. So that's one of the nice things about our program is we're based in a house in the community. We have a bus line that goes right by our door. But community-based means that our students have completed their credit requirements, so they are no longer students in an academic sense. So being removed from a school building and away from school programs really gives them a sense of, okay, that chapter is closed and I'm moving on to my next chapter. So being community-based is really, it's a nice setting because we're in the community. We can take the bus to our job sites and not be a part of a school setting.
So when you talk about developing job skills and that type of thing, how do you get ready? Well, I think I'll shift to Thonny and Tyler for a minute. We'll come back and forth. So where are you working now currently, Thonny?
Currently, I'm working at Mohegan Sun in wardrobe.
That's great. Now, is that the first job site you've had, or have you had others?
I have had others before, but I like working pretty much in the wardrobe. It's
In the wardrobe?
yeah, it's something I've gotten used to pretty much.
So you, after trying other things,
Yes,
decided this is good for you.
Yes.
And I bet you do a really good job at
I
it.
do.
That's great. So
If I
go
can
ahead.
toot Tony's horn for a second.
want you to.
Tony has tried a variety of our sites, and he's been successful at a lot of them. But starting a few weeks back, the wardrobe department, Tony had mentioned that he really liked it there, and he felt
Wow.
productive. But they asked if I could continue to send him. So Tony is going without a job coach
Oh.
and goes to the wardrobe
Yes.
department.
That is something. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we'll back up a minute, and we'll get to you, Tyler, in a moment. When we talk about job coaches, so you're in a situation without a job coach, but generally, how do we set it up from the beginning for students who are not as independent as Thonny and successful? Doesn't mean they're not successful. It's building the job skill,
Absolutely.
but how do we set that up?
Our coaches travel with the students. It's generally a 3-to-1 ratio, depending, and sometimes 2-to-1. And coaches are there to provide, explicit instruction as far as the skills attached to each job, but also constant instruction on the interpersonal skills that you're going to need no matter what job site you're going to be at or whatever career you're going to choose. Being on time, being polite,
Like being on time for the show, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Go ahead.
using natural supports, getting to know your coworkers, understanding that your coworkers aren't necessarily always going to be your best friends, but you're going to be working next to them, and being professional. And then just kind of taking responsibility for your actions and asking the right questions and learning new skills. So the coaches are really, they're our boots on the ground, so to speak, as far as facilitating the employment aspect of the program, because they need to know when instruction is needed, when to kind of pull back, and we have a remarkable team of coaches this year, so that really helps our students.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler, let's hear about where you're working and then maybe where you worked and how you found the right place for you.
All right. Well, I'm currently going to the Norwich public schools. I'm working there as a cafeteria server. And I like it there.
You like it there?
Yeah, I like the environment.
What's special about it for you there?
I'm a very social butterfly. Like, I like talking to people, and in the job, I get to talk to the kids. I get to serve them lunch. I get to, make them smile. I get to,
Well, yeah.
very.
Have you tried other job sites?
Yes, I have.
And you're feeling like this is a really good match for you?
Yeah, I would say that.
Do you want to tell us anything about you and how, anything about you in general?
Well,
Like what you like to do. I didn't really get to that. I jumped right to work, so
yeah.
I'll back up.
Well, there's not much about me,
I don't believe that.
I mean, I really do I like talking.
Yep,
Yes. You might see that today.
that's good. I'm glad.
And I like watching sports,
Good.
and I like hanging out with friends.
Hanging out with friends.
Yeah, yeah, that's me.
That's great. And the job site you're at really kind of gives you the opportunity to talk with students, younger students,
Yes.
and smile and talk, like you said, and work at
Right.
the same time.
Right.
Tony, do you want to add anything about you? I didn't really ask you that before. Like, what do you like to do, or?
I'm basically a hard worker.
Yes.
I never give up, no matter what I do, no matter what type of work I get. I try learning it once. If I can do it, I do it. I don't give up.
Isn't that is like so important
Yes.
and great to hear. That's just who you are.
That's
That-
basically who I am.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you.
What else can you tell us about the program, or that makes it special for you, either of you?
Well, what makes it special for me is that I'm getting the opportunity to learn everything that they're teaching me. So I find that great. That I get the opportunity that a lot of kids don't. So
It's like a long-term interview, or trying something out and saying, oh, I like this. But
right,
I was fortunate, as I mentioned earlier, and I was over at Uncas School observing your group working,
yep,
and it seemed so positive. The three of you, of the students, were working really well together, and your job coach didn't have to coach much, I don't think. I felt like you took it on, knew what to do.
yep,
And I also heard that because things were going so well, that you're probably moving to a larger school where there's more need, and the work's a little more work to do
right.
because things went well. And at some point, you, like Tony, won't even need a job coach.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's really
And we were proud
an
to hear
accomplishment.
that as our students transition to a busier cafeteria, now that they've kind of honed their skills and understand the expectations, if there is a need at the cafeteria where they need a sub,
Right.
Tyler was one of the young folks mentioned as they could come without a coach because they understand it.
And that's being a substitute for a regular worker who's there all the time.
Right.
So it didn't take you long to be able to do that, which is really, we're happy about. That's what our whole goal is together as a district, is to make sure that you have these opportunities to learn and grow. Maybe you could talk a little more about some of the other job sites we have, and then some of the life skills training that happens in the classroom, because we're not. Do you still spend any time in your classroom?
I spend some days in the classroom.
Yep. So maybe we'll talk about that too.
Sure. The classroom curriculum, life skills we use as kind of a base for our curriculum is the Council for Exceptional Children's Life-Centered Curriculum. And that kind of goes through, it's very data-oriented, so we're able to assess students and kind of determine everyone's individual strengths and weaknesses so that our lessons are addressing their individual needs. And we're fortunate enough to have the ability to have a small group at a time in the classroom setting so that we are able to kind of fine-tune the lessons. My teacher, Allison Orcott, has been fantastic as far as adapting lessons and really adding to that curriculum with her knowledge of the community and knowledge of what's out there. But our students, what makes it unique is we don't do simulated banking activities. We don't do simulated travel activities. Our students, because they're paid and are receiving a stipend for their time on the
That's
job,
really good.
are able to do banking activities in real time using their checks and go to the communities and fill out the application forms and fill out the deposit slips and fill out the withdrawal slips so that it's understanding it by doing. We don't talk about reading bus schedules and kind of simulating where they're going. Our students are able to take the bus from program or take the bus from their house and learn how to get to specific places in their community, which is, again, it's the best way to learn is by doing.
It is.
Take it from somebody, I look at a map and until I drive somewhere the first
Right.
time, I don't know.
I mean, I would probably have to ride with you on a bus to figure out how to do it. Like if I went to New York and had to ride the subway, I wouldn't really know, what, or Boston, what's the green line or the red line or whatever.
Right.
Once you know it, you know it. But have you taken the bus to any of your spots where you have to go?
Personally, I haven't yet, but I have taken the bus
Not as part of,
Not
okay,
well, no, as
Yeah.
part of the program.
oh, okay,
But to go to, some like grocery shopping or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or, or going to some other activity, I do take the bus to learn how to take it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
good. Have you taken the bus, Tony?
I have,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. I
Okay,
have.
Tony came to us, he's pretty proficient at taking the Norwich buses already.
oh, you already knew.
So,
You could teach
yeah.
us then,
Yeah, so
right?
that-
That's
and-
why it's like old stuff for you.
And Tyler just recently got his driver's license, so he's
Oh,
another one that
wow.
doesn't take the bus too often. But he brought up a good point. The other thing, another part of our curriculum is our students, as far as budgeting money, weekly, they plan their menus for the week. We don't access the school cafeterias in any way because we are community-based.
That's great.
So the students go to Stop and Shop, they plan their weekly menu, they purchase their items within a budget.
Yeah,
They come back and they're responsible for,
For
marking their
lunches?
food, making their own lunches each day, being aware of which job sites they're going to and what they can bring for lunch. So very much what you would be doing living in an apartment as far as budgeting your money, planning ahead, and making sure that your needs are met. So that's part of it.
so do you all well, it depends on the day. If you're at your job site, you probably eat at your job site, I would assume. And I asked that about the cafeteria.
Yes.
So you get to eat with the workers
yes,
and then serve the students, right?
you're right. Well, working at school, Ockham, I don't really eat with the workers. I usually eat with, my group.
Okay,
And
Right.
they usually eat somewhere else or on their own time.
got it.
Right.
What about you at Mohegan Sun? You get to
Yeah.
access their cafeteria or no?
Mm, when it's break time, I usually go to. There's a room out in the back where we could during break time we could just relax and such.
Oh, good. That's
And-
great.
And Tony typically brown bags it.
He brown bags it,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Where did you go to school before Transition Academy? I just like to kind of have an idea, Tony. Where did you go? You were at NFA? Were you at NFA or did you come from another school? Seems like a long time ago, right?
Yeah, it
That's
really
okay.
has.
That's all right. What about you, Tyler?
I came from Norwich. I came from Norwich Free Academy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And then what about elementary? Do you remember that far back?
Elementary.
Yeah.
I went to school. Oh, you mean like kindergarten?
Well, like that, yeah, or middle, yeah. Where did you go to?
Oh, well, I started at Greenville,
Oh, you were in Greenville, yeah.
and then I moved on to St. Joe's.
Great.
Yeah, in Norwich.
Yep.
And then I went all over.
You went all over?
I moved to Canterbury, and I enrolled Baldwin Middle School.
Yep.
In my last year, 8th grade.
And then you were at NFA.
Yes.
Great. Well, we're glad you stayed with us. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the other job sites, maybe. Because our community partners are so important
Absolutely.
at any level, for you in your program and for us for any level with our students in our schools and our families. So I think it's, just wonderful that we have these job site partnerships that you've really fostered and developed on your own that mean a lot to the whole district and the city. So maybe you can share a little bit about where those are.
Sure. And I can't say enough nice things. All our job sites, the folks have been really accommodating. They're very accepting. They're willing to take a little time as far as training our job coaches, training our students. But I think the most important is they make our students feel part of the team.
That's really good.
Mohegan Sun has been very welcoming to us. We currently support 10 sites at Mohegan Sun.
10.
And we rotate through on a monthly basis so that they can try different things. If you don't like this particular site, wait a few weeks and try the next one. And they've also been very accommodating as far as hiring students and, like in Tony's case, kind of opening the door to an avenue to employment for him to stay at Wardrobe, even though we may be moving on to another site.
Right.
Tony's still able to access that site.
And that will be your job when you finish.
The Big Y supermarket has been wonderful for us. We have a variety of spots within that supermarket. We have a young man in the bakery, We have students working out front, doing leveling. We have students doing things towards the back as far as prepping and stocking, so that they are another site that's been more than willing to have us come in and learn new things.
Yeah.
If we have somebody that's interested in a particular department, they will generally make room in that department for my coach and those students to give it a shot.
That's really great.
Goodwill Industries has been another fantastic place as far as being flexible, and whenever we can get there, they love to see us, and we go there once a week. And it's kind of a retail setting, but it's a busy setting because they get so many donations. There's a lot of skills that can be addressed there, stocking and sorting and barcoding and pulling old products off and putting new products on.
Wow.
So it is a chance for the students to really get into a retail environment and learn things.
So retail, food,
Yep.
grocery, cafeteria, which is food service, and
within-
wardrobe.
Yeah, within the casino, we're in the wardrobe department, we're in the housekeeping department, we're in the EVS department, we're in a couple of the different warehouses where students' stock comes in and they sort it, barcode it, and get it ready to be shipped out to the different stores inside the casino, as well as different restaurants have different food deliveries that we
Right.
have to sort and send
Wow.
off on their way.
That's big.
So that's kind of like a
I always
warehouse
wondered
environment.
how that happened, but it's really
Yeah.
you. That's good.
Yeah, that is my favorite place.
Well,
Work
you
out at the casino.
It was your favorite place? Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite places.
Distribution.
Yeah, distribution.
What'd
There's
you do
many
there?
places. I lifted. Well, I pick up boxes and carry them over, or you would distribute. Like the water would go with the water, the juice would go with the juice, or the snacks would go with the snacks, and yeah.
So
that stuff.
organizing. and
Organizing,
then-
kind of.
so that it would get to the right restaurant.
Yeah, right. If you have meat, then you put it in the freezer, stuff like that.
So when I go to breakfast there, now I know where the juice came from, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
good. Where else did we go?
We're
Where
at
else?
Papagino's at the Eastbrook Mall, and
in
that's an
Wyndham?
organization that I've been involved with for now 16 years. I've changed locations, but they've always been willing to have my students there and have hired.
Great. Too bad we don't have one in Norwich. That's
Well,
close,
we started,
but
but
yeah.
they closed, and
Yep.
that's when I called and said, and she said, oh, come on back.
That's
so it's
great.
been great. Thule's Restaurant was a place we're not currently placed there. We suspended because, again, we base our placement on student interest.
Right.
And we didn't have a student that was particularly interested in that, but I know the door is open if
right.
we find a student
And
that
we've
wants
had
to.
students hired, haven't we?
Yes, we've had a
there?
student hired, and she's still there.
That is really
which
great.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Try not to forget anybody.
I know.
Because everyone has been just so
No, it sounds
open.
really.
They call and they meet with us, and they're willing to just kind of open the doors. We're about to start a partnership with the Lisbon Public Schools, working there because we have students that are coming from those areas, and working within their custodial department and possibly within their library clerical work within
That's
the
great.
library as well. So it's
And I know you talk about being from Canterbury. You're Norwich, right?
Yes.
And you're talking about Lisbon, that our program is really a Norwich public school program, but we do take students tuition
absolutely.
via tuition to come in if the program's right. And so that's we're happy that we can partner with our other communities too,
Absolutely.
if it's the right program, like it seems to be for you.
Right.
So that works really well. How about, could you tell us like how your day starts and how it goes? We didn't really go to detail about that. Either of you want to talk about that?
Well, can you clarify on what you mean?
So
by
you,
that?
like if you get picked up, right, or do you get picked up by a bus to come to school, or do you, how do you
all the
get
time.
there? Or you drive?
I'll drive sometimes,
Oh.
but
Yep.
I usually have. My mom doesn't want me driving in the wintertime
I
because
don't blame her.
black ice and
Yes.
right. So I have what they call curtain drivers come pick
Yes,
me up
okay.
and to bring me to school,
Yep.
and
And then what happens? How does your day go generally once you're here at our school,
when
at our
I'm here,
building?
Oh, it's great. I look at where I'm working. If I'm hungry, I can make a lunch. I can make breakfast or something, and then get ready for work.
How about uniforms? Do you have certain things you have to wear, like
Yes,
depending on where you work?
yes.
So how do you know? And then how do you get ready and know
Well,
what to wear?
On the wall where we're working, they have a list of what to wear for what place. Like for the casino, you have the shirt, blue pants, dark blue pants, and black shoes, and black socks.
They tell you the shoes and the socks. So that's
Yeah.
what you wear every day when you work?
Depending on the job site that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
If, for example, if I'm working in Mohegan, I wear the clothes they provide me over there in Mohegan.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm working at Papagino's, I wear the clothes that I'm giving here in the school.
Okay. And are you responsible to keep those
Yes.
clean and ready?
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much every student at the school is responsible for their own clothes. If they have to make sure that they're neat and presentable, pretty much.
Good. I like that.
And also,
Yes.
so we don't get our clothes mixed up, we have these ribbons we put on our clothes. So we know that shirt's ours or that pants is ours.
Because you might be at the same job site. Yeah.
Yeah. Because everyone has uniforms.
Right.
There.
And do you wash them and get them cleaned up
Yes.
at the site, at NTA?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
NTA.
Yes. So that's part of your learning is.
Right.
So then do you do that with your other clothes at home?
Sometimes.
Oh, well, I don't know. No one's answering a yes to that
Yeah,
one.
sometimes.
What else? We have probably only a couple more minutes.
Yep.
What else do you want to share as a kind of a last thing about your opportunity, what you've learned, or what it means to you to be in the program? Thonny?
What it means for me, what it means to be in the program would be, I've learned a few new things at my job site as well as the program. And I really like it there. It's really, really great.
So you think that's good, but do
Yes.
you think then once you're out of our transition academy
Yes,
and you're in work, just work,
yes.
that you would want to stay there and do
Yeah.
that as a job?
Yeah.
That's great. I bet they'd love to have you, it seems like. Tyler,
Yeah. Hi.
what do you want to end with about what you've learned, or what is the best thing that kind of...
Well, I like the program a lot. You know, I feel like I'm getting something that most kids don't get, and I feel like that's great because, you know, I'm learning life skills and learning how to live by myself. You see, like most kids will, you know, rush off to college and stuff, and they miss that step of learning how to live on their own, and it hits them like that when they leave college. So I'm
That's
glad
really-
that
yeah.
Mr. DuFort and Ms. Orcutt can teach me these life skills.
That's
Yeah,
great.
right.
And we're thrilled that you're such excellent students, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that we're so proud to have you in the community representing NTA. One last thing, Mr. DuFort?
Just for me, and I'll speak for the whole team, we get tremendous amount of satisfaction. We're very proud of all the folks in our program. Everyone that engages in our program shows marked improvement.
Yeah.
And our goal is that when a student transitions out of our program, the only real change in their life is they don't get to see us every day.
Yeah.
They'll understand where they're going to be living. They'll understand where they're working. They'll know how to get there. The community services that are available to them, they'll be aware of. And so that they, you know, we have to harass them to check in with us every now and
Right.
again once they graduate, but they're ready to go and
That's great.
transition on in.
Well, thank you, the three of you, for being here and for your really good work, all of you, and keep it up. And you can still come visit, doesn't mean that you can't. So I want to also thank our community members for watching our show. We want to share all the wonderful things that are going on in Norwich Public Schools with everybody. So thank you to our partners and our community for watching, and have a great day.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.